Thank you so much, you stressed pirate. Let's talk a little bit. I'm having fun with names today. Let's talk about the game. I think fairly convincing for ROCCAT. They punished Copenhagen Wolves Academy for some of the decisions that the Wolves Academy are doing. But I want to go back to picks and bans. I like putting Woolite on a tank.
Yeah.
Because he plays like a tank. So let's actually take a look at the two team compositions really quickly. And one of the weaknesses of ROCCAT was Woolite's positioning and getting caught out. When you're an Urgot, you don't care because you want to be in that position. You want to be in the thick of things.
So you can get in and you can swap the LeBlanc in the late game anyway. So that worked fine for them. But the pick and ban phase here, the really surprising thing for us was the LeBlanc pick coming in for Cosq, because Lulu had already been shown, which is a great matchup into LeBlanc to just basically make it a farm lane, and you don't really have any kill pressure on her. And you'd already seen like Hecarim, Sejuani, like you knew these big tanks were coming. So LeBlanc at like 30 minutes just run out of options. There's nobody she can really assassinate. So it meant their early game for Copenhagen Wolves Academy, as we talked about, was going to be about can we snowball our lane so well through the LeBlanc that we can now have her roam between lanes and get the Jax fed and then get the Lucian fed. Otherwise, we're simply going to fall so far behind composition-wise in the team fights.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the story of the game. In the beginning, we see a very heavily early game concentrated team composition with Rek'Sai, Jax, LeBlanc, Lucian. Going there for like early mid-game split push later on. Didn't really get rolling. The Jax against the Hecarim didn't work out. They didn't get the snowball rolling. Kirei was stranded in the bot lane side of the map for a longer time.
Yeah.
And at this point, you just didn't have a lead to snowball anymore.
That was really a big deal, how the jungle focus from Copenhagen Wolves Academy in the early game, while they were pushing the bottom lane, was still there. Kirei walked down to look at a lane that was being pushed into the tower of ROCCAT, while this no-flash Hecarim is running around top lane on his own. Like, that should be the focus for him, because you know that Jax can snowball. We saw the trades later on when the Trinity Force and Blade of the Ruined King was completed for Morsu. He could beat the Hecarim one-on-one. That was going to be one of the ways for them to play it, and obviously the whole idea behind the comp. Not go down bottom lane and try and get Lucian ahead in the starter. That's just super weird for me, but it's something where I feel like Kirei has often shown that he struggles when it comes to finding the right place on the map.
Yeah, and it's something you actually mentioned right in the very first moment of talking about Copenhagen Wolves Academy. In lane swaps and situations and scenarios, CWA demonstrated against Origin they weren't making the right decisions. This particular game, they didn't fall behind as far as they did against Origin, as the gold was pretty even for a long time. What did you think of the rest of the mid-game? Once the laning phase started ending and we started seeing ROCCAT grouping for some objectives and Copenhagen Wolves trying to play a little bit of the split push.
I mean, we got to see how ROCCAT at first were either trying to get a kill and then being like, okay, we've already set up the other waves to push the other way, so there's no real like objective for Wolves Academy to take. They did try a few times to trade like tower for it, which was okay. The problem was that it was so easy for ROCCAT to just decide, okay, we slow push top lane now. We can see the wave come entire time into the tier 2 tower and just walk up with 4 guys. And Wolves Academy just never reacted. They just sat back in their own lanes. I'm not sure what they were looking for, but there was just some very easy free towers for ROCCAT that just made it impossible.
Luckily, we do actually have ROCCAT backstage talking about that Game 1 win, so we should be able to catch a glimpse of that. A little bit more relaxed than we saw from Reason Gaming earlier in the day. Remember, Yamato joined the squad. Sheepy, if you were looking at the team, what do you think?
I think that's pretty much what I would imagine them right now. They didn't do too many mistakes. They had a more to mid to late game composition and they played it fairly well. And they just had a win from there on out. And I think that Copenhagen Wolves a little bit ended up without any kills and didn't really know what to do and chasing kills and doing a lot of stuff.
Well, let's actually pull the replay up and talk about that. You know, Nuktak was able to pull so much focus from the Wolves Academy. Take a look at the minimap and maybe Sheepy Deficio, what was your take on this play?
So what you see here is the Jax dueling out with the Hecarim and see the Lulu coming, then the Rek'Sai comes as well, and what they try to do here is trying to go for the kill, don't go for the kill, then suddenly they see the Lulu out of position and this is a free kill. And meanwhile, while they chase down the kill, they don't get the idea that maybe somebody is missing here.
I mean, I can accept that Unicorns of Love can make plays like this and still win games, but for Copenhagen Wolves Academy, because they're already behind, this is just such a solo queue play, honestly, because the Baron gets taken, Nuktak dies in the very end after Baron goes down, and the worst thing is Wolves Academy had a ward. You can see it right here on your screen. It was outside the Baron pit. They also didn't see the rest of the members for such a long time, so they knew they were on Baron. Yet 2 guys were sitting in mid lane being like, should we go kill Lulu or should we go Barons? Like, they didn't really know where to go, and everyone was still chasing these Lulu in the bottom lane. Like, That's what you do in solo queue when you value a kill over a Baron. But it was the same kind of plays that happened for Wolves Academy so often, and that's why we say they are this team here who needs to win the early game really hard and snowball from there. Because in terms of strategy and like shot calling, they're just not on the same level as some of the other teams.
And I think that was actually a great opportunity for Copenhagen Wolves Academy to come back. They have the Rek'Sai, they have the Jax. Jax had TP.
Yeah.
They can easily
Go stop
double
that
TP
Baron.
in. There were 3 people on Baron. They got super low as well. So
Lulu was stuck bottom lane, no way for her to join, and suddenly you have a 4v5 situation where you can maybe even get that Baron for yourself. Like, that's one of these quick calls you have to be able to make to punish if ROCCAT makes a mistake like this, or not a mistake, but a play like this. Wolves Academy just didn't do it and just figured, let's just get that Lulu down, and that was it.
One more thought before we wrap this one up. Copenhagen Wolves Academy will be on the red side in Game 2. They elected to play red side for their respective games. That's Games 2 and 4. Sheepy, one thought after seeing the comps and the picks and bans and knowing Copenhagen Wolves Academy reliance on early game, what's your take on them coming into Game 2 on red side with the ability to counterpick, considering how picks and bans went in Game 1?
I think that's a strength for them because they should play over the stronger lanes. And if they have that possibility to get the better pick for the mid lane and maybe snowball over it, I think that is probably the way we can see them winning a game.
Well, we'll have to find out if it does work out, because as I mentioned, we do need to step away from a moment. And when we return, it will be Game 2 between the Copenhagen Wolves Academy and ROCCAT. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, baby.
I feel that my mouse is the end of my hand, you know? It's like my hand. It's connected with my brain and body.
There is going to be the Glacial Prison. He's going to be going down, but Vander could be the one to follow. Tanking up the tower shots he does. It's a 1-for-1 trade. He does get the ult. He does have some serious damage. In comes Jankos and Vander, but do they have enough to follow up as Overpow slays Hybrid? He does manage to pick that one up.
Let's get the trash, get the trash.
Left blank. Jax. Peel for Urgot. Urgot. Jax. Go Max, go Kirei.
It's go.
I slow, okay.
And they're only 2 away from retaining their LCS spot in the summer.